Hello, I'm Veronique Eberhardt. I'm the founder of Joyous Living, Mind Body Solutions for a Rewarding Creative Life. Today, we'd like to talk about fear of change and resistance to change. Whenever we have to make big changes in our life, we somewhat and somehow resist it. And it's pretty normal. Changes bring always uncertainty, fear, and there's nothing that our body likes less than uncertainty. And it wants to protect us from the stress of making the changes. So it's going to bring this, what I call the resistance to change. Are you curious if you have some resistance to change in your life? Well, there are a few ways that it shows up. So let's see whether some of that applies to you. It can be self-sabotage, like things start to go well. You go make your own business, it's going, starting, and everything is fantastic, and somehow, in the way, something is happening and you screw up. Procrastination is a very, very fine one, way to show the resistance to change. You find yourself not getting started or not following through, simply. Always something is happening that is more important than your goal or the task or whatever you've decided that was going to bring the change. So nothing is changing. Perfectionism, interestingly enough, it's a very fine way to resist change. It's a very subtle, because when we are perfectionist, we think we actually just do the perfect things that we need to do, and we got to get the things absolutely right before we get started. Isn't that true? The truth is that it's never good enough and we never get started. Lack of clarity. You don't start because you're not sure what you want. Your goals are not clear, and you kind of hesitating whether you really want it or not want it. It would be nice, but maybe not. So basically, we stay stuck where we are. Indecision is in the same vein. Not deciding keeps you from moving forward. So if you have any of these patterns in your life, it's important to take a closer look at whether you might have resistance to change. And unless you address that resistance, the struggle will continue. And even when we get started and we take the decision, sometimes after we got the decision, we get in panic mode and say, oh my goodness, I can't believe I decided and I have to do that. And how am I going to do that? Because really, I can't. It's too much time. It's too much money. How am I going to do that? And this is really the fear, it's the resistance to change. So this is what we're going to address now, and I'm going to address it with my favorite tool, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. If you have never done any tapping, this is Emotional Freedom Technique or tapping. Just follow what I'm doing. I'm going to start on the karate chop point. I'm going to give you a text and you repeat after me. Then I will go through a round of tapping out through the point in my body. And we're going to start with a negative round, which means that we're going to address the negative feelings, the fear, the resistance, the feeling of being unsafe, etc., etc. So let's get started. A big breath first, and let's connect to your resistance to change. This big fear of stepping into the unknown. Breathe in. And breathe out. Another breath. And feel this change and feel the fear, if that's what the feeling you're having, or feel whatever is coming up. And try to give it a number from 1 to 10. 1 being the lower, 10 being the highest. How much fear do you have? How much resistance do you have to the changes you want to make in your life? And let's get started on the karate chop. Even though it isn't safe for me to change, just repeat, I'm accepting how I feel. Even though I won't be able to keep myself safe, if I make this change, I'm open to a new perspective. Even though I've been holding myself back from making this change because I need to protect myself, I'm accepting that this is where I am. And I'm open to seeing this change with new eye. Tap to the point, through the point. So eyebrow at the corner of the eye, just here. And with 2 fingers is enough. It doesn't feel safe to make these changes. Side of the eye. It's scary. Under the eye. My whole body is in rebellion. Under the nose. My breathing is shallow. I can even hear my heartbeat. Collarbone. I won't know how to protect myself if I make changes. Under the arm. I really don't know how to keep myself safe. Top of the head. I don't know if I can learn to keep myself safe. Eyebrow. It doesn't feel safe to make any changes. I won't know how to protect myself if I make changes. I know it will be painful. Under the nose. And I want to protect myself. Chin. I'm not sure how to keep myself safe if I make changes. Collarbone, it's scary. Under the arm. I'm totally scared. Top of the head. I don't know if I can learn to keep myself safe. Take a deep breath. Breathe deeply in. So think what's going on, what happened, whether you have something that come up during this tapping. And especially in the beginning, when you are in the technique of tapping, it might be a bit difficult to make, to feel really. So do it several times. Once you master the tapping, all the points, and then it's becoming second nature. This is under the arm. It's really where you have the brass trap. Just do it, and then you will be fine. Repeat it several times. I want now to go into positive rounds. Once we cleaned up, or starting to clean up somehow, if your fear of change was a 10, check whether it's still a 10, whether it's becoming a 9 or 7 or 6. If it's still very high up there, tap again, redo it until it's going down a bit. And then when you feel more calm and more at peace, let's go into a positive round. So eyebrow. The truth is that it could feel safe to make those changes. It will feel so good to change. Under the eye. What if I have more resources than I thought I had? Under the nose. What if I knew how to make the change? Chin. Sometimes I do feel more relaxed about it. Collarbone. Maybe I can find ways to make changes in my life easily. Under the arm. It doesn't have to be difficult. On the head. It doesn't have to hurt. What if it would be safe to make this change? Side of the eye. What if I had the resources in me already? Under my eye. The truth is I have the resource. under my nose. I proved it in my life many, many times. The chin. I need a bit of nudging and helping. Collarbone. But really, I have all what it takes. Another arm, and it's good to feel that. Top of the head. I love feeling my confidence grow daily. Take a big breath. So, try. If I'm telling you now, I'm afraid of changes. Fear of changes is terrifying me. What, from a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate that? Say it aloud. Changes is terrifying. I'm afraid of changes. And try to see how true it rings to you. If it rings still very high, come back to the beginning and tap again from like, it's really scary. It's scary. I'm scared to death. I'm, etc. And all the way through all the points until you feel that, the scare is going away somehow. And I'll be there next week or next time to talk to you again and bring upon some new tapping that is going to change your life. Bye now.